Hello friends, we are going to have a look at the poetry, The Canterbury Tales. The Canterbury Tales was written by Geoffrey Chaucer. We are going to have a look at the character sketch, those who are appearing in this poetry. And this poetry was considered to be the longest one. Let's get into the character sketch. One spring day, the narrator of the Canterbury Tales rents a room at the Tabard Inn before he recommences his journey to Canterbury. That evening, a group of people arrived at the inn, all of whom were going to Canterbury to receive the blessings of the holy blissful martyr St. Thomas A. Becket. They were all pilgrims going for their holy journey. Because of their destination, they accepted the narrator into their company. Our narrator describes about his newly found traveling companions. First one is the host at the inn is Harry Bailey. He suggested the other members to pass the journey pleasantly. So each member of the party should tell 2 tales on the journey to Canterbury and 2 stories on the way back. The person who tells the best story will be rewarded with a sumptuous dinner paid for that person by other members of the party. The host decides to accompany the pilgrims to Canterbury and serve as the judge of the tales. In the prologue, Chaucer appreciates the season of spring, the time of blooming flowers, pleasant weather. Chaucer depicts all the pilgrimage according to the societal rank. He is staying at the place with 29 other Englishmen who joined on the journey to Canterbury. The knight is the first character who is highest placed individually. The knight is considered as a man of high reputation and courteousness. He is dressed conservatively in stained cloths, of coarse fabric. He had victories all over the continent, but he is modest with his words and conduct. His son, on the other hand, Square, he is dressed in feminine preferences with clothes having colorful flowers. He seems to be flirtatious and likes to write songs. He is of medium height and curly hair. He is training to follow in his father's footsteps. The next character is a simply clothed but educated judge or the sergeant of the law. He is wise and has been awarded many medals by the king for his service and courage. Then the merchant was introduced. He was a man of colorful clothes and colorful opinions as well. He is brilliant in trading, but nobody seems to know much about him. The next character is the office clerk, who is part of this merchant. He is a man of the text. He was a fame in University of Oxford. He is dressed modestly and prefers Greek philosophy over the temptations of singing and dancing. Then the narrator introduced the well-traveled shipman. He hails from Dartmouth, but he has been to several places. He was tired of his travels. He wears a woolen gown till his knees. The next character is the parson, who is a man of religion. He is not rich in terms of material wealth, but is generous with his words and actions. He is well versed in Christian scripture, especially the Gospels, and is devoted to his parishioners. He tries to practice what he preaches. The next character is the hardworking plowman, the parson's brother. He is a peaceful and generous man following the teachings of Jesus Christ himself. The parson is the polar opposite of the clerical characters of the friar, prioress, and monk. The knight and squire also have a male servant who is called the yeoman. He always carries a Saint Christopher's image. He is a proficient at handling weapons like daggers, swords, and arrows. The next character is the franklin, a free manor landowner. He is a cheerful person with a bearded appearance. He is a glutton when it comes to food. He is the admirer of delicious foods. There were a group of skilled craftsmen, namely the weaver, the tapicer, tapestry maker, the carpenter, the dyer. They were all dressed in unique clothes pertaining to the particular crafts. They are not described in much detail because they didn't tell any stories. The next pilgrim is the talented chef, Roger D. Ware, who's hired by guildsmen. He is there to offer his services as a culinary expert. He was supposed to make chicken and he was known for his stews and pies. He seems to have an ulcer in his leg, which is noticed by the narrator. He is followed by the manciple, who is a smart and clever businessman. He is intelligent and beyond his lack of formal education and can deceive even the sharpest of men. The prioress, Madame Eglantine, who wears a brooch that reads Amor vincit omnia, or Love is victorious. Being part of the clergy, she is expressively religious and kind to men as well as animals. She is also excelled in French language. She accompanied with a second nun. She is the prioress's secretary. Adding to the ranks of the clergy, next comes the monk. He is no conventional man of God and loves to go for hunting. He is chubby but good looking, who likes to observe God's beneficent nature than relegating himself to just revising scripture. There are 2 nuns, 3 priests, and 1 chaplain. Then the narrator mentions the friar Hubert, who is a man of desires for the woman and a favorite of the landed elites. He has the special leave to beg for alms, which he is really skilled at. He shows contempt for lepers and beggars, even though the father of friars, St. Francis, devoted his life to serve the 2 oppressed group of people. The prioress, monk, and friar are mocked in a very explicit way by Chaucer for their devotion to a life of pretension and hypocrisy. Then Chaucer describes the reeve, who is slim and tall. He is measuring the fields of his employer and stocking food grains in the granary. He is also very social. He also knows carpentry. The next pilgrim is the summoner, who had bad skin and pimples. He has a shabby appearance with a beard and slender eyes. He is an alcoholic and extremely vulgar. He is also a scam artist and is described to be repulsive in no unclear terms. He is also the only counselor for the young maidens in his region. Subsequently, we read about the doctor who is eloquent and well versed in surgery and medicine alike. His clothes are blue and red. Chaucer notices that even though the man of medicine is well read in his subject, from Greek to Anglican medicine, but is not a student of the biblical text and scripture. Chaucer ridicules his passion for gold and that he practices medicine to build a treasure rather than for healing others. The parson is contrasted with the wife of Bath. She is a woman of luxury and fond of clothing and accessories. She has been married 5 times already and claims to know everything about the affairs of the heart. The next character, according to the social hierarchy, is the muscular miller. He had wide nostrils and fiery mouth. He is a dishonest and deceitful man who steals food and sells it for high price. Chaucer deems all the millers as unworthy and morally corrupt. He is a wrestler as well. Then the last pilgrim to be described is the slightly effeminate pardoner, who is the companion of summoner. He has yellow-colored hair and a handful of pardons from Rome. He is allured by material wealth. He robs poor people by using his gift of storytelling. He is fond of singing and dancing. Chaucer has used the personal traits of each individual when he narrates the stories. Finally, the owner of the tavern, the host, arranges the supper for every pilgrim, and that wins the heart of everyone. He praises them as the best bunch of pilgrims. To keep up their energy, he encourages them to tell stories. He promises a free meal to the best storyteller. The host has decided to pay for traveling. If anyone argues with his final judgment, that person will bear the cost of his travel. They all embark on their adventure the next morning, and the straws are drawn to decide the order of storytellers. In the end, not everyone gets to tell their stories. When they are way back, they are unable to narrate stories, and few of them left without even telling their stories. I hope you could have understood this character sketch from this poetry Canterbury Tales. Stay tuned with Landing Station for further videos. Thank you.